Have you ever laid next to him in the quiet of the night, felt the warmth of his skin, and yet sensed a tiny invisible wall between you? It's a feeling many women know but rarely voice. It's not that he doesn't love you. It's not that he isn't attracted to you. But deep down, your intuition is whispering that there is a part of him he keeps locked away. And the truth is, you're right. Psychologically, most men operate with a heavy internal filter. From a young age, society conditions men to believe that they're robust. Most primal desires are too much, too aggressive, or perhaps disrespectful to the good women they love. So out of a strange, twisted form of respect, he edits himself. He gives you the polished version of his desire, the version he thinks is safe. He holds back his deepest, most urgent fantasies because he is terrified that if he showed you the full, unedited map of his mind, you would look at him differently. He fears judgment. He fears rejection. But the silence you feel between the sheets isn't an absence of passion. It is a dam holding back a flood. This is where things change. By being here right now, you have positioned yourself to bridge that gap. We are about to walk through the door that he keeps bolted shut. But I want you to understand one thing before we begin. What we are about to discuss isn't just about physical tricks, costumes, or new positions. It is much deeper than that. We are going to uncover the 4 specific hidden fantasies that almost every man harbors but never shares. These fantasies are rooted in his psychology, his need to feel competent, his need to be devoured, and his need for total acceptance. When a man realizes that you understand these hidden drives without him having to awkwardly explain them, something profound shifts in his brain chemistry. You stop being just his partner. You become his ultimate sanctuary. You become the only person in the world who speaks his secret language. Understanding these 4 concepts is the key to creating an intimacy so deep it feels addictive to him. He won't just want you physically, he will crave you mentally. So get comfortable, clear your mind, and let's unlock the secrets he's been waiting for you to find. Let's start with a word that often triggers a bit of hesitation dominance. For many women, especially in today's climate, this word sounds aggressive, controlling, or perhaps even disrespectful. But in the male mind, this hidden fantasy isn't about having power over you. It is about having power for you. It is crucial to reframe this concept if you want to understand the male psyche. He doesn't want to suppress you. He wants to be competent enough to handle you. Psychologically, men derive a massive amount of self-worth from their utility, their ability to solve problems and manage chaos. In the bedroom, this translates into a fantasy of competent dominance. He fantasizes about being the captain of the ship so completely that you feel safe enough to close your eyes and let go of the wheel. He wants to be the one who decides the pace, the position, and the intensity, not because he thinks you are weak, but because he craves the feeling of being strong enough to lead you through an experience. When a man holds back this side of himself, it is usually because he is afraid of looking like a villain. He worries that taking charge will be misinterpreted as disrespect. However, his deep-seated fantasy is that you will trust him enough to relinquish control, allowing him to shoulder the responsibility of your pleasure. He wants to feel that for these few moments. He is the master of the moment, and you are safe in his grip. Now, let's look at why this fantasy is actually a secret gift to you. You are likely a woman who holds a massive amount of things together. Whether you are managing a career, running a household, raising children, or navigating a complex social life, your brain is constantly on. You are making decisions from the moment you wake up until your head hits the pillow. You are the responsible one. You are the good girl who keeps the world spinning. His fantasy of overwhelming your senses is directly tied to this dynamic. He subconsciously wants to be the one thing in your life that you don't have to manage. He fantasizes about being so intoxicating, so assertive, and so present that he forces your thinking brain to shut off. He wants to drive you to a place where you forget the grocery list, you forget the emails, and you forget your responsibilities. This is the good girl release. It is the psychological relief of not having to be in charge. When he takes the lead, when he physically and emotionally steers the encounter, he is essentially saying, I've got this, you can rest. His fantasy isn't just about his own ego. It is about his desire to be the force that finally quiets your mind. He wants to see you lose that composure, not to humiliate you, but to liberate you. He wants to be the reason you finally exhale and just be. So if this dynamic sounds magnetic to you, how do you invite it in without feeling awkward? You don't need to sit him down and demand he take charge. In fact, telling him to be dominant often kills the mood because it puts you back in the managerial role of directing him. Instead, you unlock this fantasy through surrender signals. These are non-verbal cues that tell his primal brain, I trust you. You have the green light. The most powerful signal is the hesitation. When things are heating up, instead of immediately moving your body to the next position or grabbing him, simply pause. Stop moving. Look at him with soft, expectant eyes and wait. This micro pause creates a vacuum. It forces him to make the next move. It signals that you are waiting for his direction. When he does make a move, Perhaps he grabs your waist or guides your hand. Lean into it immediately. This is called yielding. If he pushes, you pull back. If he guides you, you follow fluidly. Another powerful signal is verbal softness. Lower your voice, whisper. Using a softer, breathier tone triggers a biological instinct in men to protect and encompass. It makes him feel larger and more capable. You can also use affirmation to reinforce his lead. If he takes initiative, a simple moan or a whispered yes acts as a reward system. It tells him, I like when you do that. Keep going. By removing your own resistance and reacting to his touch with trust, you implicitly hand him the keys. You are showing him that his strength is welcome, which gives him the psychological permission he needs to step fully into that fantasy of competent dominance. Now we move to a fantasy that often collides directly with a woman's deepest insecurities, the fantasy of the visual voyeur. I know that for many of you, the instinct is to dim the lights, pull the covers up, and hide the parts of yourself you aren't perfectly confident about. You might worry about the angle of your stomach, a stretch mark, or how you look in a certain position. But here is the secret truth about the male brain. When he is in a state of arousal, his brain filters out flaws. He isn't looking for perfection. He is looking for reaction. His fantasy isn't just about looking at your physical form. It is about witnessing the effect he has on that form. He fantasizes about the mirror effect, seeing his own desire reflected back to him through your body language. When you hide, you are inadvertently depriving him of the visual cue that turns him on the most eye. Seeing you lose control. He wants to watch your face flush. He wants to see your eyes roll back. He wants to see your hands grip the sheets. To him, this isn't about critiquing your body. It is about witnessing your surrender. When he asks to leave the lights on or positions you in front of a mirror, he isn't inspecting you. He is trying to capture the image of you being completely undone by him. He wants the visual proof that he and only he can make you feel this way. To understand this further, we must look at the concept of the psychological trophy. In long-term relationships, the mystery naturally fades. The spark settles into a routine. In this environment, a man's need for validation actually increases. He needs to know that he still has it. He needs to know that he can still excite you just as much as he did in the beginning. This is where the visual component becomes his evidence. Think of it this way: auditory cues like moaning are great, but humans are primarily visual creatures. For a man, seeing is believing. His fantasy is to view your pleasure as a tangible trophy of his competence. When he can see you clearly, he feels a surge of pride. It validates his masculinity in a way that words cannot. If you constantly hide in the dark, he is operating blindly. He is guessing whether you are enjoying it. But when you allow yourself to be seen, really seen, you are giving him a scoreboard that says, you are winning. This fantasy is about his ego in the healthiest sense. He wants to feel like a champion lover. The visual of your pleasure is the medal he pins to his chest. He fantasizes about a partner who is confident enough to say, look at what you're doing to me. It transforms the act from a physical sensation into a psychological triumph for him. He doesn't just want to feel good. He wants to see that he is good. So how do we navigate this if you are someone who prefers the safety of the dark? You don't need to transform into an exhibitionist overnight. You don't need stadium floodlights to fulfill this fantasy. In fact, the hunter instinct in men often prefers a reveal rather than full exposure. This fantasy is best unlocked by breaking the darkness habit in stages, creating an atmosphere that feels intimate rather than exposing. Start by introducing mood visibility. Use candlelight, a dimmer switch, or a lamp in the hallway that casts a soft glow into the room. This offers him the visual outline and the expressions he craves without making you feel scrutinized under harsh lighting. It provides a filter that softens the experience while still allowing him to see your face. Another powerful way to step into the light is through what you wear or don't wear. The fantasy of the reveal is potent. Wearing lingerie that highlights one specific area while covering others allows you to control what is seen. It frames your body like art. Slowly, as you become more comfortable, you can engage with the mirror. Catching his eye in the reflection creates a feedback loop of intensity that is hard to rival. Remember, when you hide, he feels like an outsider knocking on a door. When you step into the light, you are inviting him in. You are telling him, I have nothing to hide from you because I trust you completely. That vulnerability is the ultimate aphrodisiac. By slowly allowing him to witness your pleasure, you are feeding his hunger to not just be with you, but to perceive you. You are giving him the front row seat to the show he never wants to miss. This next fantasy dives deep into the psychology of contrast. If you are a wife, a mother, or a career woman, you spend 99% of your life in a role that requires patience, responsibility, and wholesome nurturing. You are the one who kisses boo-boos, organizes schedules, and presents a polished face to the world. And believe it or not, your man loves that version of you. He deeply respects the Madonna side of your nature, the caretaker, the partner, the safe harbor. However, his hidden fantasy relies entirely on the temporary destruction of that image. This is the desire for the taboo contrast. He fantasizes about the woman who is so polite at the dinner party transforming into a completely uninhibited creature the moment the bedroom door clicks shut. The thrill for him isn't just the act of sex, it is the exclusivity of the transformation. He wants to know that while the rest of the world sees the good girl, he possesses the secret code to unleash the bad girl. This fantasy is often confusing for women because they feel they have to choose between being respected or being sexual. But the male brain doesn't want you to choose. He wants both. He wants the shocking realization that the same gentle hands that pack lunch boxes are capable of scratching down his back. It is the jarring contrast between your public persona and your private passion that creates an adrenaline rush he literally cannot find anywhere else. So, how does this contrast manifest in real time? It happens when you break the script. In long-term relationships, our conversations become incredibly predictable. We talk about work, bills, kids, and logistics. Even during intimacy, couples often fall into a silent routine or stick to safe, loving affirmations. But his fantasy involves a deviation from this politeness. He is secretly waiting for you to say things you would never, ever say in real life. This brings us to the power of uninhibited vocalization, or what is commonly called dirty talk. This doesn't mean you need to use words that make you uncomfortable. It means vocalizing your desire in a way that feels raw rather than polite. He fantasizes about hearing you articulate exactly what you want or exactly what he is doing to you without a filter. When you verbalize the physical sensations, or when you demand pleasure using sharper, more primal language, you are signaling that you have left the civilized world behind. You are breaking the script of the polite wife. This is incredibly arousing for a man because it represents total trust. He knows you wouldn't speak this way to anyone else. It confirms that he has taken you to a mental space where social etiquette no longer applies. The shock value of hearing his sweet partner whisper something naughty acts like a jolt of electricity to his system, instantly snapping him out of his daily routine and into high alert arousal. The biggest mental block women face with this fantasy is the fear of judgment. You might worry, if I act too wild or say something too dirty, will he think less of me? Will he think I'm crazy? I am here to tell you that the opposite is true. When you show him your darker, more primal side, you are not risking his respect. You are actually giving him a massive psychological gift. You are giving him permission to stop being the good guy. Think about the pressure on men. Society expects them to be stoic, responsible, controlled, and gentle. They constantly have to restrain their strength and monitor their aggression to fit into the civilized world. When you are always good, he feels he must remain good and controlled too. But when you initiate this taboo contrast, when you are the one to introduce a little wildness, you create a safe container for his own primal nature. You effectively sign a permission slip that says, we can both be bad in here, and it stays between us. This is profoundly liberating for him. He feels a sense of relief because he doesn't have to worry about scaring you or being too much for you. By seeing you embrace your own raw desire, he feels safe enough to unleash his. This doesn't create distance, it creates a conspiracy of two. You become partners in crime. He realizes that you are the only place in the world where he can put down the heavy shield of responsibility and just be a man. This shared vulnerability, this mutual agreement to be uninhibited, is the glue that binds a relationship together for decades. It tells him that you are safe enough to handle all of him, shadows and all. We have arrived at perhaps the most critical, yet frequently misunderstood fantasy of all. This is the emotional twist that ties everything together. To understand it, we have to be brutally honest about the reality of long-term relationships. Life is exhausting. Between the career demands, the household logistics, and the mental load, intimacy can sometimes slip from a passion into a chore. You might find yourself in a place where you love him and you are willing to be intimate, but your internal monologue is saying, okay, let's just get this done so we can sleep. This leads to a dynamic often called starfish sex, where you are physically present and consenting, but your energy is passive. You are allowing him to have sex with you. While he may never complain, deep down this hurts him. His deepest hidden fantasy isn't just access to your body. It is the feeling of being enthusiastically desired. He fantasizes about ravishment. He craves the moment where you aren't just available, but hungry. The difference between I am willing and I want you is the difference between a transaction and a connection. When you are merely passive, he feels like he is using you. But when you are enthusiastic, when you pull him closer, when your hands roam over him with urgency, it validates his existence. He doesn't just want to be satisfied. He wants to feel like he is the most addictive thing in your world. He wants to be devoured. To truly grasp why this fantasy is so potent, we must dismantle a major myth The idea that men are always confident, always ready, and immune to insecurity. The truth is, men carry a profound, silent fear of rejection. In most relationships, the man is the pursuer. He is the one initiating, the one reaching out, the one risking a no. Over years of marriage, if he is always the one asking for intimacy, he begins to feel like a pest. He starts to feel like a burden, a beggar asking for scraps of affection from a wife who is just tolerating him. This dynamic crushes a man's spirit. It makes him feel like a service provider rather than a lover. This is why the fantasy of you taking him is so healing. When you flip the script and pursue him, you silence that insecurity instantly. His fantasy is that you lose control and initiate because simply cannot help yourself. He wants to be the object of desire, not just the instigator of it. He wants to feel that his attractiveness is powerful enough to make you cross the room and claim him. When you initiate, you aren't just starting sex, you are telling him you are desirable. You are wanted. You are a prize. It proves to him that you are with him because you crave him, not just because you are married to him. This brings us to the art of the huntress. Many women hesitate to initiate because they think they need to be aggressive or act like a dominatrix to fulfill this fantasy. That isn't true. You don't need to tackle him. You just need to show enthusiasm. The huntress is simply a woman who knows what she wants and isn't afraid to reach for it. You can fulfill this fantasy with subtle, powerful shifts in behavior. It starts before you even reach the bedroom. It's walking up behind him while he's doing the dishes, wrapping your arms around him and kissing his neck with genuine intent. It's sending him a text in the middle of the day that says, I can't stop thinking about your hands. It's pulling him toward the bedroom by his belt looping instead of waiting for him to ask if you're in the mood. When you initiate, do it with energy. Kiss him like you did on your third date with pressure and heat. When you touch him, don't just pat him, grip him. Let him feel the intent in your fingertips. This enthusiasm is the ultimate aphrodisiac for the male brain. It heals the wounds of rejection he didn't even know he had. It transforms the dynamic from him chasing you to the two of you colliding. By becoming the active agent of desire, you reclaim your own power too. You stop being a passive participant in your sex life and become a creator of it. And for him, knowing that his woman wants him enough to hunt him down is the greatest ego boost, the greatest comfort, and the greatest turn on he will ever experience. It tells him he is home. We have journeyed deep into the hidden corners of the male psyche today. I hope you now see that these four fantasies, competent dominance, the visual voyeur, the taboo contrast, and enthusiastic ravishment, are not about perversion. They are not about him wanting to use you or change you. At their core, they are profound emotional requests. They are his silent way of asking for connection, for validation, for trust, and for desire. He is asking to be seen as capable, to be seen as a good lover, to be accepted in his rawest state, and to be wanted with intensity. By understanding this, you have separated yourself from the vast majority of partners who only look at the surface. You now possess a rare form of empathy. You see the human being behind the desire. This understanding makes you dangerous in the best possible way. It makes you irresistible. You are no longer just a lover. You are the one woman who truly gets him. You have become his psychological safe haven, the one place where he can drop his guard and truly rest. That is a power that goes far beyond the bedroom. It builds an unbreakable bond. You now hold the keys to his mind in the palm of your hand. It might feel like a lot to take in, but remember, true intimacy is a marathon, not a sprint. You don't need to try all four of these concepts tonight. My invitation to you is simple: pick just one. Maybe this week you leave the lights on a little longer. Maybe you whisper something unexpected and out of character in his ear. Maybe you initiate with a little more fire. Just choose one small shift and watch how he responds. You will see his eyes light up, not just with arousal, but with gratitude. If you enjoyed feeling like an insider today, and if you want to keep uncovering the secrets that deepen relationships and ignite attraction, make sure you click that subscribe button right now. Join our community of women who are mastering the psychology of love. There are so many more layers to uncover, and I want you there with me for every single one of them. Until next time, remember, you are powerful, you are desirable, and now you are wise. I will see you in the next video.